All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the December 9th Internal Services Committee meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion from Romano, support from Duge. Please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Next, approval of the minutes dated November 4th, 2019. Motion from Sauger, support from Haw. Please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Public participation. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? Going once, going twice. We will close public participation. Move on to item 6A, department recommendations, budget amendment, capital improvement fund, probate court building demolition in the amount of $169,000. I'll take a motion to approve the demolition from Commissioner Duge. Is there support from Commissioner Myjack? Lynn, turn on your mic and let her rip.
We are requesting a 2019 budget amendment, transferring $169,000 from the general fund to the capital improvement fund to fund the demolition of the probate court building.
Perfect. Wrecking ball, dynamite. I'm just kidding. I don't see any speakers or questions. Please vote.
This is the easiest question ever. One down.
Motion passes 10-0. Next is item 6B, purchase order, International Construction, Inc., probate court building demolition in the amount of $169,000. Motion by Commissioner Duge, support from Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Duge.
Thanks. Nice job. How long is this going to take?
It should take about 30 to 45 days, but certainly the site restoration for the seeding, the hydro seeding,
Right.
would be in the spring.
Okay, so this will be a flat piece of land
It would be compacted,
in a month?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, 45 days, depending on weather.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you. I talked to Lynn before the meeting. It's attached to the bid specifications, but because I think a demolition, because it involves workmen, should probably have an actual separate written contract. So they're just going to do this with the bid process. But I just let her know that whenever we have workmen on site and somebody should get hurt, we should have a separate written contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other commissioners with questions or comments, please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Thank you, Lynn. It's easy when you're blowing up buildings, right? Next is 6C, budget amendment, capital improvement fund, virtual desktop project, amount of $18,017.40. There's a negative sign in the front of that. I'll take a motion to approve this before Jacob takes it away. Motion from Sauger. Is there support? Support from Haw. Go ahead, Jacob.
This item I brought to you probably about 2 months ago. And when they started implementing the project, they realized that they can do it with actually less licenses than what we originally anticipated. So the difference in cost is really cutting out those licenses and a small reduction in the overall cost of the project. So that's why I brought it to the board.
Thank you, Jacob. I don't see any question. Commissioner Drollet.
So this is a reduction from a previously approved amount, Jaco?
Yes.
Okay, can I make the motion to approve the reduction?
We already did that.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to thank you for taking the time to review it and it's always good to hear good news that we found a way to, bring an anticipated cost down somewhat. So thank you very much.
Anyone else? Seeing none, please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Next is item 6D, Agreements Information Technology. Maintenance agreements for first quarter 2020, package 2 in the amount of $271,027. I'll take a motion to approve. Motion from Commissioner Haw. Is there support? Commissioner Leonetti. Go ahead, Jaco.
I already brought the first quarter for next year, the maintenance agreements for that. These were 3 additional ones that we were not ready to present at that point in time, so now we have these ones available too. So it's 3 different systems that are on maintenance agreements for the first quarter of 2020.
Thank you, Jaco. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Next is item 6E, list of contracts, staff augmentation services to be approved individually. We'll start with contract for Connexus Group LLC, staff augmentation services. I'll take a motion to approve. Motion from Commissioner Drollet, support from Commissioner Sauger. Jaco, do you want to talk about all of them at the same time?
Yeah, I would like to just kind of give a full picture and then we can take it from there. As you probably remember, in 2018, we brought 4 contracts to you for different companies. It was for the contracting services that we use in IT. The agreement at that point in time was that the board requested that we go out to bid in 2019, which this is the result of that. When we decided to do the bid, I sat down with purchasing, and we decided to do an RFQ with 4 categories. And the reason for the 4 categories is that 3 of the categories, category 2, 3, and 4, are very specialized work. People that's been working for us in these roles for many years and has delivered these services very successfully to us in IT and and to the county. It would be very difficult for us not to retain those services. So I separated those 3 out in different categories. And then category 1 is the general category for IT contracting services. So any additional type of services that we would need from any organization or any for any reason would come out of the first category. The decisions that we've made in category 1, we went with a vendor called Modus Incorporated. Modus is actually our current vendor in that regard. We have a very good track record with Modus. They've been our vendor since, if I remember correctly, around about 2012. And they've delivered really good services to us. They are also the preferred vendor through RFPs twice now for Oakland County. They have just won their second bid at Oakland County after their first term. The second category is chosen vendor is Metro Technology Services. we receive very specialized services from this company, and especially in construction management type projects where IT is part of that. That happens quite a bit in the county. Whenever we have a construction project, there's always an IT component to it, and they would run those services for us. We also utilize them for client liaison services in our organization. The third category is what Commissioner Kraft just referred to, Connexus Group. We have an individual by the name of Mark Tremaine that started working as a contractor in August of 2011. And he's been doing this now, obviously, for 8 years and very successful, delivers great work for the county. And then the fourth one, the KPMG one, we awarded to them. The person there, Glenn, is an ex-police officer at the Macomb County Jail. Glenn used to be their IT liaison for us, working for the Sheriff's Department when he was on staff there. And Glenn did a lot of their IT work back then. When he retired, it really, left, quite a bit of challenges for us. And one of them, their main case management system, which is Offentrack. For us to be able to maintain Offentrack, we have to upgrade it, run about every year to maybe 18 months. Glenn is the one that take that system from end to end, test it for us, make sure that it's in line with the sheriff's processes and working well before we do the actual upgrades. He also has a lot of other capabilities like report writing and development capability, and those type of things come in very handy for the sheriff's office specifically. We also utilize Glenn a little bit in public works. And those are the four categories that is in front of you today.
Thank you, Jaco. Commissioner Drillette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Jaco. So these four items are, did I hear you correctly in stating that these are items that the board had asked you to reopen for bidding that had previously not been necessarily bid for a while?
Yeah, we haven't bid this I don't know that it's ever been bid, to be honest with you. And last year when we had the conversation at budget time, the board approved the contracts that we brought before you. That was vetted by our legal department and so forth. And then with the agreement that we have to go out to bid in the next 18 months.
Okay, and just, do you think that having them bid out made a difference in any way? I'm just curious.
I think it definitely makes a difference.
Okay.
Without a doubt. We had, to be honest with you, we had 43 bids.
Wow.
Which is, a lot of interest.
Yeah.
It's, and in general, we only really disqualified one of the 43 bids. In general, it helps us to see where we are in, pricing and all these type of things, and also fixed pricing for the next 3 years. What we're asking here for is also just a 3-year contract, and then moving forward, doing the same thing. In other words, every 3 years go out to bid and make sure that we go through the same process.
So did we end up with the same vendors that have been providing the service in the past?
We ended up with the same vendors, yes.
And so even though there was quite a few bidders, there was, obviously the new bidders didn't outcompete the previous or existing bidders. But you think it was a helpful process?
I think it's a very helpful process. I think it's good for the county to do that from time to time and just make sure that what we are doing is the right thing.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Just to piggyback on that also, you know, we say a lot that there are no companies out there that do a particular thing, but if it's been 10 years since you checked, a lot happens out there. So it is nice to get an idea if there's new companies in the area that you're unaware of that specialize in different things. So I think so too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other speakers, we'll just go down the line. We have a motion and support for the Connexus Group. We'll vote on that one first. Thank you, Mike. All right, next is the contract with Metro Technology Services IT Inc. for staff augmentation services. Anybody have a question on? Okay. Motion from Commissioner Drollet, support from Commissioner Douget. Any questions, comments? Please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Next is contract, motion to approve a contract KPM Group, staff augmentation services. Motion from Commissioner Sauger, support from Commissioner Ha. Questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Last but not least, motion to approve the contract with Modus for staff augmentation services. Motion from Commissioner Kleinfeld, support from Commissioner Myjack. Seeing no questions, please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Jago. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate it. Next is new business. Any commissioners with new business? Seeing no new business, we'll move on to public participation. Anybody from the public? Nobody's jumping out of their chairs, so we'll close public participation. Andy keeps staring at me. Take a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Drollet, support from Commissioner Douget.
Oh, 2 in a row.
We are adjourned. About 5 minutes until the next meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.